Hi everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Project Sapphire. Last episode we got the car running and driving. This episode we'll get it up on the hoist and have a look underneath it. Follow along to see what needs doing next. Cheers! Okay, so we've got the Sapphire up on the hoist. Have a look at the bottom of it for the first time. First things first, exhaust. So there's a mount up in there. We don't know, we're just saying we'll undo in there. There's another one you can't see, but it's up there behind the behind the petrol tank. Anyway, coming along, there's a diff. We've got a little bit of leak in the back here, but this is pretty good here. And there's some new brake lines. The previous owner's done some work, and I know he's had the drums off. Coming along, back of the actual floor looks really, really good. It's still covered in all the bitumen deadener from the factory. Really good, really nice and solid, and that makes me happy because we're not fabricators. Anyway, looking at this muffler, we got some holes coming up in here. So, like I was saying, we'll undo those bolts there for the mounts on the exhaust. We'll undo the ones at the back, undo these ones, and just take the whole thing off. Anyway, coming along. Handbrake. We got some leaks on the gearbox. Dad's back in the U-turn. Yeah, and we're gonna go at it with the degreaser. Because this is completely covered in crap. Got a bit of slop in here. And I think we've got a bit of an exhaust, not an exhaust, a radiator leak. Because pissed out. But anyway, onwards. We'll get there. Another thing, playing around with this capillary line water temperature sender, and it's just not showing up on the gauge inside the car on the dash. So we poured a bit of boiling water over it to just see if it would start to read. No, it doesn't work. So a gentleman in the car club has told me a method for regassing it, but we also got to see if the actual dial's working. So I don't know, we've got to figure out what to do there. Yeah, that goes all the way along and then through in the firewall there. Alright, car's on the hoist. Dad installed the new section of exhaust. We've just gone from the back of the muffler because the rest of it's in good nick. It goes along. He's also made this bracket here to pick up on the bottom hole and stop it from rattling as much because it was knocking against the gearbox. So the whole thing is so softly mounted. You can't really see, your whole thing's shaking. But anyway, that's all looking a lot better. We're gonna have to cut that off, obviously. But that's looking a lot better now. Okay, so we've got the air cleaners. So we had an issue with the air cleaners and the breather hoses. Once they got rid of the pot scrubber wire filters, the breather hoses are supposed to go through to keep those lubricated. However, because they weren't very good for filtration, they were then in turn converted to Ryco, either the paper filters, like in the Star Sapphire models, or the pre-oiled foam filters. This has pre-oiled foam filters, so the breather hoses, the fumes can't get drawn through the foam. So Dan and I are trying to figure out how to have that breather, the engine fumes recirculated through the cleaner and through the carburetor just for cleaner breathing. Dad came up with this good idea that you wouldn't even be able to tell that there was any alteration unless you were specifically looking for it. Under the spot welds that were holding the fitting, he's moved it over. And he's done this whilst I've been at work. And so now I'm just cleaning these down. Got some petrol, scrubbing them. That's the the last 4 numbers of the chassis number. But yeah, we're going to clean these off, scrub them down with some sandpaper, and give them a good lick of paint, and then it'll be good. He's gone down to the shed, Dad has, and I'm just working on this, scuffing these up so that we can etch prime them. And they're not going to look amazing, obviously we'd like to hammer out these little dints and things like that, but it'll be significantly better than how they look now. Again, this is not a restoration, this is merely a clean-up, let's say that, just call it a clean-up. It'll look better than how it looks now. Alright, update on the air cleaners. They look a little dusty because it's been quite a while, maybe a week or 2 since I painted them, just time's getting away. They look so much better. Obviously a couple of little dints and things like that, but that's not the point of this exercise. We're just trying to make this look better than how they do. That's the alteration that Dad went for. I reckon it's a good idea. And once that's all hooked up with the hose and everything like that, unless you're specifically looking for it, you're not going to tell the difference. Here are the ends. You can kind of start to see you still see the made in England in the end caps. But yeah, they look way better than they did. You can see where the bands have been squished too hard on them. Really squeezed them. This one's a lot worse than the other one. That looks like it's actually been whacked. But anyway, still operational, and it will look good on the engine. Here's the final product of the air cleaners. They look a lot better than they did. This is just temporary. We're going to take them off whilst we do some more work around the engine bay. We've got a PCV valve fitted there and there. A little right turn, 90 degree, and it goes to the side of the air cleaner. Back there too. And so we'll see if this makes any difference. Hopefully it does. It looks pretty neat, pretty clean, and these air cleaners look a treat. And we're going to be taking the rocker cover off, and when that happens, I'll give it a good scrub down degrees, and I'll give it a lick of paint too, just to make this engine bay look a little bit more presentable. We've got some dirt and crap and stuff like that we're going to clean up. It's all pretty original, but I'll make it look a little bit more presentable for shows. Alright, we've got a little bit of an issue here with the oil filter. This is a later Ryco paper oil filter. These were shorter than the original felt oil filters. With this, that's supposed to go in, and there's some shims at the bottom plus that, which brings it up to the top, level with the top of the casing. However, it's supposed to almost stick out a little bit further for it to actually be squeezed between the neck and the bowl here. This is an issue because this has been sitting all the way down and it hasn't been pressed up against, which means that oil has not been going through these combs. It hasn't actually been forced through the filter. It's been running down the sides, and this has been like that for quite a while now. So what we need moving forwards is somebody has disposed of the cap at the top, which meshes the top of the seal with the top of the casing when they installed the new paper filters. However, the parts division of the Armstrong Siddeley Club sells adapters to install Z9 filters, so I'm going to have a chat with them and see if that's the way to go. A bit of a bum that it's been running for a bit now with no oil filter effectively. And when Dad did take this off, that was all caked in the bottom with crap. So, not great. Oh well. Alright, Saturday 9th of September. We've got some issues. We've got some pretty bad leaks coming from the master cylinder. So we're going to take this off. We've got a kit that arrived yesterday from Cumbria, the UK, and we're going to completely pull that apart and service that. However, we've also got some pretty extensive oil leaks on the gearbox. Between the actual gearbox and the bell housing, you can kind of see the drips from there, and it's coming up between there and there, dripping down, coming down. So that's not good. We've also got a crack in the back here, which these were probably, I think we read in the newsletter that they were pretty bad for it. We've also got some, it's hard to film in here, got some leaks coming up from that top bolt up there above the switch, and it's been dripping down and dripping off this great big brass plug. Can't really see in here, but the kingpin bushes are worn through. We've spoken to the club in England about getting some rubber bushes for that. And the same ones on this side too. You've got some brass ones at the top and the rubbers in the bottom. Master cylinder kit we got from Cumbria. Has the spring in there. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is the boot that's come off the Girling brake master cylinder. It's torn, you can see it cracked through. It's full of mud. Here's the plunger. Those pieces are pretty okay. There's a copper washer that goes onto, I'm showing how it fits onto that cap with the brake light switch on the back of it. So there's the brake master cylinder reinstalled. We've got great brakes. It's very good, but down the line we might look into installing a brake booster. I don't know, that's still up in the air, but yeah, that's all reinstalled. Moving on from that, I've been working on the boot, and it's just taking it took so long with the wire buff, so we ended up investing in a portable little portable sandblaster using garnet powder or pressurized garnet, and you have to wear this white face covering or little mask. It fills up with so much dust and you can't see anything, and I already wear glasses. You get sweaty, but it makes very, very good progress. It clears rust right off and you get very detailed work. So I've been going along with the little sandblaster. We've got garnet in it. There's the garnet. It makes a mess, but it does such a good job. Going all along. We can weld these holes now. Yeah, so like what I was saying, it makes an absolute mess, but it's very, very effective. But this is all of the garnet that's left over after just doing the small details. Next few clips I've muted because there was background sound. These are the bottom of the doors, and I'm just using the sandblaster to clean them. Here is a section that's cleaned, looking down to a section that hasn't been started yet. Here I am using it. Very effective, just makes a mess. This next little photo shows, again, a section that hasn't been done and a section that has been. This section has been painted now. Whilst I was doing this, I took the back bumper off to have a look at what was going on behind it. At some point, the car's been reversed into something, and that mounting bracket on the left-hand side, the passenger side, has pushed up into the sheet metal and has cut that. Dad has welded a patch behind it, and I've rubbed all of this back, and it's now painted. Alright, working in the shed. He's working on the lip in the boot. We've got the rubber peeled back, and this corner is nice and solid. Just been rubbing that back. That's not a rust hole. That's where a screw and a nut clamp the rubber down on. Going along, we've just scraped that back with the grinder, and now I'm just going to go over it with pour 15. That's got around about 4 layers or 3 or 4 layers of 415 in it now. So we're getting there, looking good. Just quickly also, don't worry, this is getting painted. Okay, so this is after Dad patched the hole, we put a bit of body filler over the patch. I rubbed it back, we undercoated it, or primed it, and then we put like a hardened undercoat over that. And then we went over it with some Pour 15. This is not winning any shows, but look, I'm happy with the finish. Here I am waving in the reflection. There it is with the bumper put back on. I never want to do that again. And also, I didn't get any photos of the painting, but I did the bottom of the door. So, break from Sapphire content. Dad and I have been working on a 1957 Super 88 Oldsmobile for the last decade, and someone down the road had a 1958 88 sedan that has the same floor pan and a couple of other pieces that match our car. So we bought it off him, got it out of the paddock, took forever, was a good mid-30s day, full sun, but we got it on the trailer and we've already got quite a few pieces off it, as you'd probably be quite surprised to hear that we've got something off this car. But yeah, it's been very, very useful so far, and I think this car is a testament. Do not park your cars in hay sheds. You're asking for trouble, and unfortunately this car was ready to be painted. It was going through its own restoration before it got burnt by the fires. Here's it on the trailer, and here is me at the ripe age of 16 with our 57. The 57 has since gone on a trailer, maybe a few months back now, to go to a local shop to get the rest of the bodywork and paintwork done. Keep going. Hi, little update. I haven't done much filming. Dad and I are working on the car as we can. It's, what is it? January, March, April. We're midway through April right now. Gearbox is out. Front end has been completed. We have new ball joints, tie rod ends, and brakes are finished. We still want to install a brake booster because this does have drums. The Mark II, I believe, came with a brake booster. But yes, and I have, we're missing one of the semaphores, the trafficators on one side. I've bought a new one from a gentleman in Queensland. It came out of a Triumph. I have self-flashing festoon bulbs in both trafficators now, in keeping with contemporary ideas of indicators. I'm still going to be installing contemporary indicators on the front and back, but hook them up to the same system as the trafficators. What else? Front seat is out, floor is up. Mum's going to measure up the front seat to make a seat cover. It's in great nick. I think it's called Corinthian leather. Corinthian leather was supplied to Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, Jaguar, Bentley and Armstrong Siddeley, which is cool. It's really high quality leather, but I just don't want to chance any tears or anything like that. So I'm going to condition it, and Mum's going to make a really nice cover out of some period correct tweed. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. We're sorting out the oil leaks in the gearbox right now. We need some additional seals and a bearing, but the engine's in great nick. It's a fully synchro box that was designed and manufactured by Roots, and they put them in the Humber as well. Fully synchro, meaning that it has synchro on first gear 2, which was really different for 1954. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to keep putting out updates, but I'm going to close out this video now just because it's getting so long, and my poor old computer can't manage it. So tune in for video number 4. Hopefully we'll be able to put some things back together rather than just taking them off. Let's see. Cheers, thanks. and tune in for video number 4. Thanks.
So maybe a week after filming that, Dad and I pulled the gearbox out. Here's the jack up underneath the gearbox. There's the plate under the gearbox. Took a lot of wriggling, but we got it out. There it is. And here's the clutch. Yeah.
All right, you can see here we've got the engine on a makeshift mount that Dad's put together. The gearbox is out. We've done it like this because, unlike other engines, Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire has 2 engine mounts, one at the front, at the pulley, and one at the rear of the gearbox, which means that the whole thing rocks side to side. And if you were to take the gearbox out and not suspend the engine, then the whole thing would just fall backwards. So we've learnt some things. It probably would have been easier to take the gearbox out if we had just taken the whole engine out. But we'll live and learn. And here is the synchro gearbox. The input shaft bearing, you can see there, if it focuses, is cracked. So we have to get another one of those. And yeah, I'm just cleaning up as I go along. And little bit by little bit.
So earlier I was showing you this on the back of the gearbox. This plate is renowned for cracking on these Armstrong Sidleys. They're quite thin. Essentially this bolts onto the back of the gearbox. Drive shaft goes through the center of that. And it mounts to these 2 rubber bushes, which also act as one of the 2 actual engine mounts, or engine and gearbox mounts for the car. Everything kind of rocks on this point. Yeah, and like I said, they're renowned for cracking. All of the literature that comes with these cars advocates for strengthening these with additional steel bars. I don't have any photos, but that's what Dad and I ultimately did. We were able to grind out the crack, filled it with a bead, and then ground it back again, and then welded an additional like a ledge or like a rim around the actual exterior of the plate. There it is, there in the foreground, and there's the gearbox all reassembled. Radiator is also out. I haven't shown that in this video, but we're giving that a flush in the next one. And I highly suspect there's some muck at the bottom of it. But yeah, getting there.
Alright, so it's night time now. I'm just going to close out this video because it's getting really leggy. But yeah, gearbox is back in, all sorted. We need to, I'm putting the floor back down, and we're going to sort out some carpet. After that, we need to clean out the engine bay, just give it a really good degrease, and reassemble the driveline. After that, I think our big 2 jobs that we have to sort out are our water temperature sender unit, the capillary line. I found a bloke that can fix that for us. We're going to give it a go ourselves first. If it doesn't work, then we'll take it to him. As well as seat belts. Seat belts are going to be a nasty one because we have to figure out where we're going to mount them. But other than that, we're making really, really good progress. I'm very happy, and look how good it looks in the dark. Just keep it dark, and it looks amazing. No, not true. Yeah. Oh, and wing mirrors. We need wing mirrors and the indicators, but they're all little tasks for the next project or next video, I reckon. So yeah, thanks for following along on our road to roadworthy. Let's see how we go. Cheers. Bye.